in a land where the red earth holds the memories of the ancestors, Kosiso lived as a woman apart. She was a weaver whose hands danced across a wooden loom as if spinning the very rays of the sun. She could take rough cotton and turn it into fabrics so vibrant that the king's wives sent messengers from 3 villages away just to buy her wrappers. But despite the gold coins hidden under her bed, Kosiso's heart was an empty, echoing room. In the village of Oji, a woman was measured by the children tied to her back. Kosiso was 35, a widow, and she was barren. For years she had visited herbalists and prayed until her voice was hoarse, but her womb remained as silent as a graveyard. The villagers were not kind. When Kosiso walked to the stream, other women pulled their children closer, whispering that a barren woman carried a curse of bad luck. They looked at her beautiful, intricate fabrics and scoffed, saying she spent her life clothing everyone else's children because she was too cursed to have her own. The pain reached its peak during the festival of the first rain. The village square was a sea of joy, filled with women dancing with babies strapped to their chests. Kosiso sat in the corner, trying to remain invisible while selling her woven blankets. A woman named Neka, known for her sharp tongue and 6 children, stopped in front of Kosiso's stall. She picked up a beautifully woven baby shawl, sneered, and tossed it into the dirt. "Look at the cursed widow," Neka shouted, silencing the drummers. "She weaves blankets for children she will never hold. What use is a warm blanket for a cold, dead womb? Go home, Kosiso. Stop pretending to be a mother to threads and yarn." The square erupted in cruel, biting laughter. Kosiso felt the heat of 1,000 stares burning into her skin. She didn't say a word. She quietly packed her loom and walked away into the shadows of the evening. That night, the wind howled around her hut like a grieving spirit. Driven by a sorrow so heavy it felt like madness, she left her home and walked toward the Whispering Woods, a place the elders forbade anyone to enter after dusk. Deep in the dark, tangled vines, she found what she was looking for: the glowing silver silk of the spirit spiders and the flexible, pulsing roots of the ancient willow trees. She gathered the materials and rushed back to her loom. For 3 days and 3 nights she did not sleep. By the flickering light of a palm oil lamp, she began to weave. But she was not making a wrapper. She was weaving a child. She used the willow roots to form strong bones and layered the glowing silver silk until it became skin as smooth as velvet. She dyed the hair with the dark sap of a mahogany tree. As she finished the last thread, a single drop of blood fell from her pricked finger and landed on the woven child's chest. The room grew freezing cold, and the shadows danced wildly, and the little chest rose with its first breath. The girl opened eyes the color of deep river water and reached out a warm, soft hand. Kosiso collapsed to her knees, weeping with joy, and named her Amara. The village of Oji was thrown into shock. Amara was breathtakingly beautiful and possessed a quiet, floating grace. For a few months, Kosiso was the happiest woman on earth, but the villagers were suspicious. The village herbalist noticed that when Amara scraped her knee, she did not bleed. Instead, a tiny silver thread hung from the wound. Furthermore, the village dogs would whimper and hide whenever she walked by. The elders consulted the oracles and declared that Amara was not a child, but a forest demon, a changeling woven from forbidden magic. On a dry, windy afternoon, a mob arrived at Kosiso's hut, carrying torches and machetes. "Bring out the forest demon," they chanted. Kosiso stood in the doorway, shielding Amara with her body. One of the men threw a burning torch directly at the little girl. The fire caught Amara's arm. Instead of the smell of burning flesh, the air filled with the scent of burning leaves. Amara let out a terrifying, unnatural sound as the silk on her arm began to unravel into ash. Kosiso threw herself over her daughter, using her bare hands to violently beat out the mystical flames, severely burning herself in the process. As Kosiso wept over her unraveling child, the sky turned pitch black. The great goddess of the forest, Allah, descended in a glow of vines and light. The villagers fell to their faces in terror. The goddess looked at Kosiso's ruined, burned hands, the hands she had destroyed to save her creation. "You stole from my sacred grove, weaver. The penalty for stealing spirit silk is death. But you have given her your blood, your tears, and your sacrifice. You have paid the price of life." With a wave of her hand, the goddess turned Amara into a real flesh and blood human girl. Amara breathed deeply, her skin turning warm and living. But magic always demands a toll. Kosiso's hands, terribly burned from the fire, never healed. They remained stiff and scarred. The greatest weaver in Oji could never work a loom again. Years later, Kosiso sat on her porch, watching her human daughter run through the courtyard. She had lost her greatest talent, but she had gained the family she had always dreamed of. When she looked at her scarred hands, she did not feel regret, for she knew that some things are worth more than the finest silk in the world.